Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 52nd episode of the GeekVerse podcast.
Like a deck of cards. You didn't want me to say that.
No, I didn't. Dylan said this, I think, about 3 times before we got on
that was
cast.
the second time. That was the first time
Oh.
live. I don't know.
I am Weapon X, Travis Snail.
I am Dylan Moss. I got nothing.
You got nothing? No.
I'm the X. I am an X-Man. Dylan Moss.
That's all you got. That's the best thing you come out.
Yeah.
I'm an X-Men, Dylan Musk. Yes, if you haven't figured out by what we're already hinting at, what we're talking about as far as, well, if you look at the title of the picture.
They know.
They know. You know. We're talking X-Men Apocalypse, spoilers review. Yep. It's myself, Dylan Musk.
Mm-hmm.
A few other geeks saw it, but, they got work.
They got work in the morning. They got people to see, places to be.
Crime to fight. But here we are. We're going to do a spoiler review. So this is your last chance before, if you haven't seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, overall, I thought it was good.
I think it's definitely, you should see it first.
Yes.
Definitely.
That's just for the people if you clicked and
Not
you're
something
like,
you should skip.
Yeah, that's for the people, but now we're getting a full spoilers review. Overall, what did you think about the film?
Overall, I was pretty impressed. We when we saw how the reviews have been doing, or I don't even know about the reviews, but just like the score on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. Wasn't really sure what to expect. The trailers, I thought they were cool. I've liked every other X-Men movie.
Yeah, because you're a big X-Men fan.
I would say so. Yeah. I would say so. And
yeah, like it's
I really
at
enjoyed
47% right now, and maybe that helped because I'm the same as you. I enjoyed it. Maybe that helped because we did know going in that it was kind of reviewed poorly. I'd say poorly. Like like any film, I feel like that's not 70 or above. It's kind of a poorly or kind of just decent. And obviously, especially with Days of Future Past, we always forget. Sure. But that's obviously everyone loves that film. Most fans love that film. People that are comic fans love that.
Even the haters love that film.
Yeah, exactly. And that's in, I think, at like a nice 93, 95.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that much.
Oh, yeah, it's high. We tell this every time, but we check, we're like, man, it's high. Yeah. So it's coming off a huge film.
For sure.
But then, that's maybe the reviews help because they put my expectations lower. But that's what I said to Dylan in the car, and prep for this for people that don't know. For Marvel, X-Men, like the franchise or property, that's my favorite Marvel thing. So when I got out, first of all, I don't let the reviews be like, oh, that's what I measure it by. But obviously you go in knowing, okay, it's been kind of...
There's like a little bit of bias.
Exactly. Yeah. So in the middle of like, okay, people haven't really liked it, haven't said it's amazing. So like going in. So I watch it, and I'm like, wow, that was amazing and everything like that. Well, I don't know if I say amazing. Some parts, we'll get there. Either way, I liked it a lot. And then I'm like, am I just biased because I thought back to right when I got a theater of like, it's in at a 47, that's a fail movie. Yeah. And I'm like, is it my bias because I love X-Men? And to tie it in my overall thoughts, I don't think so. Because Batman is my favorite fictional character of all time. And I watch BVS and I can see that's a problem there. That's a problem there. And this film does have problems. We'll talk about them. But not the same way with BVS when I walked out. I felt a little empty, to be honest. I felt like there was something missing. With this, I felt out that I didn't waste my money. I didn't waste my 2 hours. Like, I enjoyed it.
I think even though that's like the scores or whatever, they were in the back of my mind, but I forgot about that for this movie.
Second it started.
We always talk about the BVS because it's so classic. Everyone was saying it was terrible, and then when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I see why. But in this movie, I completely forgot about those biases that I had, and I just enjoyed it for what it was. And I think the first thing I wanted to talk about was like the spacing of it, or like the pacing, I should say. I thought it was pretty good for the most part. I
think it was pretty good for the most part. The one that threw me for a loop, and once again, very last chance. If you've not seen the film, get it now because we're going to talk specific plots. I think it was pretty good. I think there were a few times where they let a few characters fall to the wayside. The one thing, as far as just pacing, there's one thing that really threw me off was... There's like the first scene in the movie, and then I'm pretty sure the second scene...
In the desert? When they're...
Yeah, like the pass, like before the credits. And then I'm pretty sure the second scene of the movie is Mystique in that Fight Club.
Yeah.
Right? And she gets Nightcrawler, and my thing was... I felt the rest was good. Like, oh, you spend some time with Xavier, spend some time with Magneto, spend some time...
Yeah, and they switched back and forth at like a solid amount of time.
Except for her, though, because it was a beginning film, and I felt like you didn't see them for a lot longer. Like, it was one of these things that I felt like maybe half an hour to 45 minutes had passed, and then it went back to Mystique and Nightcrawler. I was like, where have they been the whole film? So I don't know if there's a scene there that's gone or something like that.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I kind of forgot just because it definitely like got better, the pacing.
And there's so much other... I agree, it got better pacing, but there was just so much stuff going on that I guess they're just kind of like... road tripping.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess that I not to throw it a con right away, but that's one of my con of. Do we know why she was after Nightcrawler?
Well, I mean, there's like the possibility that he's like her
Yeah, it
son,
could be
right?
her
But I don't
son.
think it didn't seem like she knew that.
And they didn't even hint at that. Where even in Days of Future Past with Quicksilver, they hinted that Magneto and him could be related.
But there might maybe it just like logic maybe is that he's blue, she's blue. Maybe that makes sense.
So she
maybe that
saved-
gives it away. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh wait,
right?
no, that they're parents, or that's why she was saving him, just because she saves the blue people.
No, just because like
because she shouldn't save
she's like
Apocalypse.
maybe she just feels better around blue people. Maybe she's like, hey, you know what it's like to be
From an
rejected by society for your blue skin.
From an actual character point, though, I feel like I don't know, and I feel like
Yeah.
you don't know why. And that's one of the things that we'll get into in a bit. Is just some of my cons was a lot of the characters that were done well were done really well, but then some of them, their motivations weren't exactly too clear.
Mhm.
And I guess we'll just talk about it now. We're on the subject. Psylocke, to me,
Yeah.
cool character. She's very cool in the comics. 5 lines of dialogue, and
Yeah.
not even important dialogue. Just like she would say, like split them up. Like it was that type of dialogue.
And, well, even just like the acting for it, I felt like just like the scenes when it was supposed to feel like she was scary or something. Like, I mean, everyone.
Were you not intimidated by the acting? Or were you not intimidated because did Olivia Munn stick out?
No,
much?
I honestly think it was like her acting, and like
Okay.
if you've listened to the GeekVerse podcast, you probably heard me talk. Like I do think she's cool because I remember from Attack of the Show, which isn't even like an acting thing, right? It's just like a talk
personality,
show.
cool,
right?
Like,
so that's
what
why
we
I
do.
like her. I don't even know like if I've seen her in another movie.
I think
you know?
she may have been like big comedy roles, maybe,
Yeah.
but nothing to this level of a big.
So like I definitely
blockbuster.
don't know her for her acting really, and it was
She
disappointing.
didn't impress you here.
No.
No. Well, and that's the thing. Not just talking about the acting, even as well as for the character. They do this thing where I did like the creepy tall bald guy. I really liked him. I think his name was Kolob or something like that.
With the like really colorful
Yeah,
eyes.
I really liked him and what was going on there, even though they don't really explain it. But the thing is, so that happens, and she like threatens Apocalypse and Storm, and her whole motivation for joining Apocalypse is because he can make her laser sword bigger. You know, like that was my thing. Of
Yeah.
it didn't really click in, and the same thing with Angel. It makes sense to a point where it's like, okay, he's gonna fix his wings, so I kind of get that, but they don't explain. They explain why Magneto.
Yeah. Well, I think that what we get with Angel at least is we get that scene where he's like fighting a bunch of people, and you see him right on the ground that he's taking out like however many people.
The
Like
Blob was in there.
he's clearly a pretty destructive like guy who just likes to fight.
Yeah.
And whereas with Psylocke we don't really see.
But
we don't know if like what she's like really.
But even with Angel, other than getting his wings back, why should Angel and Psylocke want to destroy the world? You know, and they might want to as characters, but they didn't explain why in the film. Angel gets his wings back, and even if he somehow explains, you know what, I
you
just
have to
feel
make guesses. Yeah, like they definitely don't explain it.
like, does he feel indebted to Apocalypse? If so, great. But maybe like he didn't. He had maybe 3 lines of dialogue as well, because he said that line to Nightcrawler at the beginning, and then when he was with Apocalypse, he's like, "Who the hell are you?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you didn't really get a motivation. With Storm, I felt like it was kind of there as far as I don't see, because I'm trying to think
he
why.
seemed to like kind of connect with her a
Yeah.
little bit more than the others, but it's
But it wasn't really delved deep into, like, other than Magneto, which we'll get into, because that's
Yeah.
a real high point for me. Other than Magneto's motives are clear cut. Like,
Yeah,
once
for
again,
sure.
huge spoilers. This is your very, very last chance. Like, we're not going to skirt any corners. His family gets killed right in front of him.
Yeah.
Very brutally. So it's one of these things, surprisingly, too. Maybe it's because we just came from Civil War, and obviously they had that very impactful scene, and we won't get to because we don't want to spoil that. But even then, for a superhero film, for them to kill a child, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
That kind of put me...
it was unexpected. for
Yeah,
sure.
that was really out there. But his motives are clear. Family murdered. He tried to trust humans, and that's what I love. He saved a human, and those humans that he saved, like from the
Turned
lava,
their back on him, yeah.
turned their back on him. Told the police, these like renegade police, killed his whole family. So his motives are clear as crystal. That you can see through the crystal. You know why Magneo's doing it. But with Angel and Psylocke, I feel like you definitely do not know why. It's kind of like, okay, I get that. Oh, it's cool. This guy could make my power stronger, but why do they want to commit genocide then?
Mm-hmm.
And with Storm, like you said, she has a better connection with him, but it's not.
Well, I think
it's not.
with her, it seems
delving
more like
deep.
For me, like that. The problem is that you kind of have to make a little bit of guess. But it seems to me like she clearly comes from like a impoverished sort of family. She has to steal just to presumably like get food. You know, when he takes her to a place, she's like, "Oh, we don't have much food," And so, you know, it kind of makes sense that maybe she just wants some power. Maybe she wants, like, something more than what she has.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it is the problem of, like, they don't really tell you exactly. It's definitely not as clear as Magneto. You know?
No,
and it's less for the other two.
Yeah, for sure. And with Storm, I so you get a little bit, but I just needed a little bit more because Apocalypse in the comics in the past has mind controlled people, and to me, I almost wish they would have gone that route. Other than Magneto, because you set up this brilliant backstory, but with the other ones, because with Storm, I actually thought he was going to mind control her when he like touched her face, and it was going to be against her will, sort of thing. Because then I could kind of excuse them for not giving a reason, because like, well, they're under mind control. They don't need a reason because they have no control. But it's just the thing of that's what I couldn't get past was, okay, cool, you can make my power super strong, but I don't want to kill millions of like men and women and children, you know. But they never explained why. They didn't explain, and even then with Storm, she was kind of fine with killing everybody until she happened to just see Mystique, which they do plant that it is her idol, but still,
True.
She was still willing to kill all these people. You know, it's one of these things of, and now she's an X-Men. You know, they had this moment of her seeing Mystique, and you kind of got an idea that she felt she was doing wrong, but like you said, you kind of have to guess with the characters and their motivations with certain looks.
And it's another thing. Talk about Psylocke a little bit, like with this, like she's not dead. Like Angel is presumably dead.
Yeah, because they don't show that shot of him, and I don't know if he was breathing or not, but either way, he's all burnt up.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I don't like, too, because in the comics, this does happen. He becomes one of the main Apocalypse people. What happens in the comics, he's an X-Men, he dies, and Apocalypse resurrects him, and mind control, and then eventually he goes back to being an X-Men. But this really did not set him up for any future
if he comes back, it's going to be kind of like a cop-out, almost.
Yeah.
And with
he crashed in a whole plane.
And the thing with Psylocke, like, first of all, we have no like backstory on her. We don't really understand her motivations in the first place, and now she's gonna go off and has this snarky look on her face, like she's gonna try to mess him up later, or something. Who knows?
Well, I think either she will be back in the next X-Men, or we talk about this theory. I do think there's a chance she could, for comic book readers, know she's in X-Force or can be involved, so maybe they'll work her into the Deadpool thing. But she's definitely still, I would say, would stick around. But it's that thing of. Yeah, like, I even found it a little bit cheesy when she's staring them all down and she's just kind of walking off, because I'm like, where's she walking to? You know, at this point, especially in this getup, like, where's she going? I know she has to go somewhere, but it's this thing of, and that's what I mean, I would have...
She's in the middle of a desert. With
and I would transportation. And once again, she looked like she was really mad that she was unsuccessful, and to me, from what the movie tells me, the only reason she's in this is to get stronger powers. So maybe she may be mad about her powers, but I would have liked if she was like Magneto or Apocalypse, even if we got a few scenes of her being like, you know what, I hate humans and I want them all dead, then you could be like, I understand why she's mad, but like you said earlier, and I alluded, you kind of have to guess why she's mad, you know, and she just gives a scowl and walks off, and it's like, okay, like twisting the mustache, we'll see you later in some form, but it's like, it feels with her, Storm not so much, because Storm ends up in the X-Men, so she's fine, you know, next movie, they didn't do her that justice in this film, but in the next one I feel like you'll get there. But with Angel, he's pretty much dead, or if he's back, like you said, it's kind of a cop-out of he didn't have a moment.
At least for the sake of this movie, we can say he's like, you know,
he's dead. Let's say he's dead. And same as Psylocke, you don't really get a full revolution or resolution on her. So
do you feel like there's maybe some scenes cut of her or something?
No, and that's a bad thing. I feel like they didn't have anything more intended than her just to be a cool action character, which she was cool, but, and I know this is kind of weird, we're starting off cons, I guess, first, but with the action scenes with her and Beast, they were cool, but did you feel like they were shot not the greatest? I felt like there's many times they were actually something up in the sky, and I was, like, there would be like, let's see, I'm looking at the screen, they'd be fighting up here, and there'd be all this ground or like setting, but they'd be the small part of the screen. They didn't feel centered, and it felt like the action was kind of poor. It would be like really cool, and then kind of be poor.
I actually felt one thing I wanted to bring up was I felt like just the CGI of Beast, you could say. I felt like it was actually pretty bad.
I did not like Beast the way he looked in this film.
Honestly didn't even like him a whole lot in what was it, Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
I just felt like it didn't look like that real. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, I don't think it did either. I
liked him in Days of Future Past. I don't know if you remember First Class. He had like smaller hair, and I didn't like that. Days of Future Past, I kind of like because it's a tough character because it's one of the things I do commend them for trying to make him not CGI, like not his whole body CGI, like a Thing or like a Hulk. So it's one of these things of either we get a CGI Beast or we get the prosthetic Beast,
Yeah.
and I feel like they do an all right job, and it's a thing of.
I just think he like moves, like not like it's not very fluid. You know, I don't know.
Or do you think he doesn't move like a beast would, or like what do you feel like? What do you mean by fluid?
Like it just looks weird.
It
I
looks-
don't know.
it looks
looks
weird?
unnatural, and yeah, it is unnatural because it's some beast.
He is a
man.
beast though.
I know, but it just when he's like crawling on all fours and stuff. I don't know. I just don't think.
I
So
like
what
that.
I'm saying is that combined with Psylocke's kind of a little bit like robotic movement. I felt like
Mhm.
I don't think their fight scene was very
And
very
it's,
good.
and
I guess you could compare it to the other stuff that was going on at the time.
well, yeah, and I feel like from the trailers they made it seem like it was gonna be something really cool and exciting, but it wasn't that. It was, I wouldn't say it's a bad action scene. It was just kind of lacking. I feel like it was a big kind of setup for it, and especially we were already expecting it.
Yeah.
But then the actual fight scene was a lot of just being thrown through walls. Some cool stuff. Like I like when she did wrap like her lasers and powers around her, like the kinetic energy around his throat
Yeah.
was pulling him. Like there was some cool stuff, but for me it was just like the shooting of the action scenes. I felt it was a little off.
Yeah, 'cause even for that like particular scene when she was like gonna like chop his head off, and then she like got kicked in the head.
It was really weird because it like cut to
It-
black for a second.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't. Like you saw his feet like kicking her head, but you didn't see that happen, and it was like it seemed like he was out of the frame. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very strange.
And that's the thing, like I feel like all the action in the movie is decent, but I wouldn't say I don't know if there's any good or great action in this movie where I feel I guess I don't even know if Days of Future Past, I'm trying to think if that had a great action scene, but I don't think it did. I think it had just great character moments and cool
Yeah.
fighting. Oh, well, you know what? The stuff in the future when the X-Men would get killed by the Sentinels were pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was good.
And with this movie, I would say there was action scenes, but I wouldn't say any of them stood out. The scenes in these movies, to be honest, that stand out for me are the character scenes with them interacting with each
Yeah.
other in certain situations. Obviously, there's a big action scene with Wolverine, which we can...
What do you want to say about that?
Let's say it for later, because let's get to the main character, because it is a big
Finish-
thing, but it's a smaller...
Finish talking
but
about the last villain.
yeah, but
Yeah.
as far as action, that's a good scene. That's really
Yeah.
intense and cool, and lots of good stuff are coming on there. But at the same time, sometimes it felt like they were almost too close to him, like a bit wider spread, seeing him tear apart people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a PG-13 thing, though. They don't want like you to be showing like his getting sliced people and whatnot. But I guess we could start with the cast and we'll start off with the OGs. What did you think about, in particular, you can go any order with Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, James McAvoy as Professor X, and then Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
Mhm.
Anyone stick out? Anything you didn't like? What do you think about...
Well-
oh, sorry, and Nicholas Hoult as Beast. We kind of touched on him.
I really like that actor.
Mhm.
What's his name? Sorry.
Nicholas Hoult.
Who does
Like
Beast?
Beast or something? Yeah.
I,
But-
I think he's really good, and I like his parts when he's himself. I
As Hank, yeah.
Yeah, and I just for me it was what I was just saying. Like I think the movement of the Beast was kind of strange, but overall I thought his character was well done.
I like him, but do you feel like opposed to the first two he was in that he felt it was a really small role for him? Like I feel like he didn't do much this movie.
Yeah, he was kind of put on the side a little bit.
Yeah. And maybe it's because there's so many things going on in this movie, and that's one thing I try
Well,
not to...
actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, like he was the first one that Mystique talks to when she arrives at the
Yeah.
mansion. He's the one who is like, "Hey, I built this gigantic ship. I'm gonna go fly it for you guys."
Mhm.
He had that fight scene with Psylocke, which is one of the longer like individual fight scenes
True.
in the movie.
But then that's it, really. He talks with Mystique, he builds
Okay,
that
you know
plane.
what thing really bothered me when
excited.
Magneto's throwing all of his stuff at Apocalypse and Cyclops is firing at him
And
Beast
runs
jumps right at him.
over.
It's like
What are you gonna do?
What is that gonna do? Even if you make it in there, Cyclops is gonna kill you instantly.
Well, and
It
it's
was
all,
so stupid.
it's him and Mystique too. When I see Mystique, and I'm like, "What are you?" And she does her cool thing. She turns into Psylocke and kind of tricks him. But it's one of the thing of like
That was pretty good. I thought that was cool.
when it's not other mutants that only have hand-to-hand combat or like people. She's kind of useless in the fighting sense, She has to be more of the brains or do stuff.
She's
to
more
set the battle.
stealthy, yeah.
Yeah, more stealthy. But when you can't be stealthy, what do you do? And that was the thing of like, okay, she got her one shot in an Apocalypse, but that was it. And then he just pretty much chokes her to death. Obviously, she gets saved, but that was the thing of, I guess, taking it back to Beast. He did get that action. I just felt I just always felt there's so much going on, and he was always there, but to the side. You know, like even with the cerebral thing, he's there and he's playing a big role in it, but he's just kind of to the side. You know, and maybe it's because the first class one he had this like romance with Mystique, and then the next one was about him. He was still kind of just there, but it was still him tinkering with being Beast and whatnot, and there wasn't as many characters as this. And that's one thing I hate to compare it, but that's one thing I will say that Civil War still did a bit better. I feel like every character got a moment where, like we said, Beast got an action moment, but it's not anything we're talking about like, man, that fight scene was great. If it was great, I feel like that'd be a big moment, but we kind of feel like it was lacking.
For me, like, I actually think Beast was well done in this movie. I think he had, like, for the amount of characters there was, I think that just like the character, he was in like as many scenes as he needed to be.
Yeah,
you know?
That's fair.
I think because he was sprinkled in there like throughout the whole thing pretty much. Like it didn't seem like they just forgot about him for 40 minutes of the movie.
Oh, he was always there.
Yeah. I think overall, I think he had a good balance.
The only negative too I'll throw up there, I don't like that he's a human so much, I guess, and that's just like the comic book reader of me that they just kind of explain when because he says he forgot to take his meds or something, right? And I guess that's something they're just laying back on. But in the comics, that's part of the thing about being Beast and the struggle of it. He's always Beast.
It seems like they just, for at least this new trilogy of X-Men, it seems like that's what they want too, with Jennifer Lawrence constantly being in
Jennifer Lawrence
form, and him in Days of Future Past too. He was taking meds just like Xavier was to reduce the look of his character. So I guess that's something they're going for. And I liked in the old X-Men movies when he was just always chilling as Beast.
And because to me that's point of the reason of that's supposed to be his burden of he has these powers but he looks like this Beast all the time. But to me his powers aren't that bad if he can just kind of turn it on and off. You know, like I don't feel a real struggle.
I feel like one of his powers, I mean, this might just be from what I've seen, is that he's like super smart, right? And I feel like that's like
I don't know if that's power. I think that's just him.
I know, but I feel like that's like part of just like what makes him like I feel like that's one of his powers, you know.
That's true.
And so I feel like that should be reduced too. If you're, I mean, obviously, I guess it's not actually his power, but I feel like I don't know. I don't know what I'm going.
How did you feel about Mystique in this movie? Character and acting.
I thought she was good. I don't know what to say about her. I thought she was gonna die. I thought they were gonna kill her off.
I did.
Especially because you've been telling me they're gonna kill her off.
I did until a couple weeks ago when they showed like a TV spot. They showed that ending of her wearing a different suit, like the one she's wearing at the end, the X-Men suit. And if you notice too, you guys didn't notice because we were talking, but they played this weird thing. Tell me in the comments anywhere on our podcast if you got this too or tweeted us. They played this like thanks for watching the movie with Storm. But the thing is they showed a behind the scenes of like her on set, blah, blah, and then at one point they showed her wearing the X-Men costume. And I said, I'm like, well, big spoiler because like obviously she's gonna be X-Men. We know this, but it's like saying like don't show that. So I thought
that thanks for watching scene was
really weird.
Well, no, don't put that there.
Don't put it there. So what were we talking about?
Mystique.
But what specifically were we talking about Mystique? It just, my mind...
There was a scene at the end that you knew was coming or something?
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I did think she was going to die until a couple weeks ago, and then I kind of felt like she was going to make it. But how do you feel about the character? Because you seem like you have a couple of thoughts about the character before you answer.
I mean, I do like Jennifer Lawrence. I think there's a little bit of fatigue just because she's been in everything. But I just want to see, like, Mystique, you know?
Like her blue, like powered Mystique?
Yeah, and doing her stealthy, cool stuff. And she didn't do any of that, really.
No.
The only part where she did is when she went up to Apocalypse in Psylocke form and like, did that, and then obviously that was a pretty quick scene. I just like when she's in her blue form and she's doing crazy things on her own.
I feel like her character served...
It didn't really fit into the movie, I guess.
Yeah, like I feel like her character served a purpose in 3 ways, but then after that didn't really all. Her character alone doesn't really, to me, serve much of a purpose in this movie. She doesn't really have an arc or anything like that. Like, obviously, they do this thing of, like, oh, you know, I'm not going to be part of the school, and then she's with the X-Men. That's her arc, but I just don't feel like they portray it that well. But the things I do, like...
She's, like, the one who informs them about Magneto, but, like, if that was on TV, they were going to find out anyway.
She's just there to kind of move along the plot. You know, like, she's not there as a character. She's just there because we need her. It's not as bad, but it's kind of like Amy Adams and BVS. She's kind of there because the story needs her to be there, but they don't have a great enough reason. But the things I'll throw out as positive, I think one thing I'll actually throw out, I thought Jennifer Lawrence did a good job. Truthfully, in the trailers, because it gave her all these crappy lines.
Bigger role or something? Or?
No, I thought it was her acting was actually not going to be as good because in the trailer it's all like we're going to war and he's a mutant and it's all these like stereotypical one-liners and I was like, if this way she's in the movie, it's bad. And to me, for the part she's in it, she's good because same thing, she doesn't feel like she's in it that much. She's always sprinkled in, but she doesn't feel like she's too much. She gets main focus, but the three things I like is obviously one, you got the whole thing with Storm. So I do like that they tie that back and they view her as a hero. I kind of like that they pay off Days of Future Past. But the two things, the other thing is she's there for Magneto, so she kind of talks him down. That's good. But the scene where it's really strong, that's what I mean. It's not the action stuff that I love in this film, it's the character moments. And the character moment I love is when she's getting choked out and you can... Like, Charles can either feel Apocalypse killing her or he's in her mind and feels that she's dying.
Yeah.
And he's losing it and he's breaking down because he knows that she's going to die. Obviously, she doesn't. But in this moment, you feel like she's going to die and he's sensing it. And that moment was great because it really... The thing I love about this movie, it really did bring that triangle of Mystique, Charles, and Magneto back together. You know, like you felt like they were kind of a team or reforming... And I like that because
they're on the same page again.
Yeah, because First Class, that's one of the best things is that dynamic between the three of them, and that's what I really liked with this one. Other than that, I don't feel like the Mystique character did too much. I think she was good. I wouldn't say she was bad. I wouldn't say she was great. Just good for what she did.
I think the Mystique. I think the
way. I didn't like the speech about we are X-Men, but that felt really. That felt cheesy. And why isn't Charles making that speech? He's the leader, you know. Yeah. Like that was the thing I didn't like. That was the only one where I was like, this is kind of. It's because she's Jennifer Lawrence, and you want her to be the big thing. But for me, like I said, a good performance. Nothing great, nothing bad. Just kind of there, did her part.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I thought she was gonna have a bigger role in it. I guess
she's an.
But I think the way I put it is that I really like the Mystique scenes. Bar maybe the last one is a little cheesy. Yeah. But I the other scenes when she was Jennifer Lawrence weren't quite as top notch as the Mystique scenes, but they weren't bad. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's how I think. I'll move along to James McAvoy. Yeah, I think this is my favorite movie of him being Professor X because he gets to do a lot in here, except for the middle part when he gets abducted by Apocalypse. That's kind of lame because he's just literally, no pun intended, sitting around. Like it does. That's what I feel like happens a lot with these characters. To most of them, even Magneto, which we're getting to later, he has this great beginning and ending, but in the middle when he's like making this metal force field and whatnot, for that half an hour of the movie, he's just doing power stuff, you know, and it's cool, but I feel like that happens a lot where that's one thing I'll bring up with, once again, I hate to say it, but with Civil War, you always felt the characters were always around, where you feel like sometimes characters get benched, of like, okay, they had a bunch of scenes, now Mystique, you go to the background, Magneto had a bunch of scenes, now you go to the background, where it felt like they were kind of taking in and out of, oh, you're the main person now, where Civil War kind of always felt like everybody was the main thing. Like, they did a better job of the ensemble. I feel like they used everyone really well, but with other barring when Apocalypse steals him, I feel like he did a really good job at being the teacher. I feel like at the end, his emotional stuff was really good with Magneto and Mystique and Jean. I felt... And the Levin, what's her name?
Maura Taggart, yeah. He did a good... Maura McTaggart. He did a good job because, truthfully, in First Class, I kind of felt that romance was not forced, but I wasn't... Oh, this is the be-all. Like, it just kind of was just there. But in this movie, they bring it back in a good way. I like the whole... He gives her the memories back, and that's great. And I loved all the flashbacks they did in the films, especially at 1.2 when they were talking to Magneto, and Magneto has the flashbacks of them as friends. Yeah. I really like that, because it brings it full circle. Even if you watch this movie an hour before going to see, you remember, but it still... is a nice crescendo of showing the characters having those same
It was helpful, because I just rewatched Days of Future Past, and I didn't rewatch First Class in the last... I haven't seen it in a few months or something, so that...
And the majority of the flashbacks were First Class.
Yeah, so it was really helpful to have that, and I don't think it took very long. Yeah. It felt like they just kind of zipped through, like, oh, this is what you need to know. Yeah. And so anyway, so James McAvoy, he was probably my favorite part of the movie, honestly. Oh, wow. I really like him in general, and I just think that this was definitely, like you were saying, his best role with his character, for sure.
I think the thing that I was impressed, because we hadn't seen him do it really yet. You saw a little bit in First Class, but he was younger. I always wondered how he was going to play the teacher part, and I didn't think he would ever be bad at it, but I was always wondering, am I always going to be convinced? Because the thing is, he is still a young guy. I don't even know if James McAvoy is 40, so it's one of the things of Xavier. Of course, you got to show him as a young guy teaching, because that's his origin, but it's the thing of, like, if I see him at age 30 talking to all these students and whatnot, am I going to believe he has a wealth of knowledge? Yeah. And I'm going to believe these things? But the thing I like, he didn't really come off as a guy who knew everything. He just came off as a guy who knew more than everyone else and could help these students. Where Xavier in the original trilogy, you felt kind of like a Dumbledore Gandalf vibe. Like he knew
Yeah.
everything about everything. He didn't need to learn anything. But this kind of still feels like he's learning. You know, like when he
Yeah.
figures
sure.
out that he can go into Apocalypse Mind, I like that it's this thing of his students are still kind of teaching him. And that's a writing thing. That was good. But that was my always, not my concern, but my wonder, like, will he be good at the teacher stuff? And he was great at it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I also think it was funny how for that whole part of him being kidnapped, he was just rocking that purple sweater.
Oh, I know. Like,
I thought that was kind of funny, but I was like, you know what, this is cool. I like this.
I liked his attire. It was good. Like, I liked most
And
of
that
his
suit at the
attire.
end, oh,
Yeah.
looking clean.
That was good. Yeah, nice ball. Oh, on that note, because we'll go back and forth character-wise, thank you, X-Men. Instead of, hey, Xavier's just going to shave his head, they make a reason for him losing his hair.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things.
That was
If you
good.
listen to
That was well done.
Yeah, if you listen to our BVS review way back, that's one of our biggest complaints is, oh, how's Lex Luthor going to go bald? Are they going to make him fall in a goop? Is he going to lose it because of kryptonite? Nope, they just shave him. And, sorry, spoiler, but they just shave him. Where with this, they give him a reason. There's a nice payoff, and now it's obviously he's going to not be able to grow hair because of powers and whatnot. And I kind of had that idea that's what was going to happen, but I like that there's a reason you get to it, not just like, oh, all of a sudden he's balding or like he's decided to like bick his head. So that was my last like character thing. I'm sure more will come up, but that was my last thing that stood out.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to one of my personal favorites, Michael Fassbender. How do you feel about the character of Magneto's films Go Around and then Fassbender?
Yeah. Well, when I was thinking about this earlier, like, and I just said James McAvoy stole the film from me.
Mhm.
It's always hard to put it over Fassbender because I feel like he did just as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that emotional scene for those who weren't in the theater with us, Travis was bawling his eyes out at the death of Magneto's.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because you knew it was coming. Like it's one of the things I knew.
I didn't know it was coming. That was very.
Like I didn't know. It's one of the things. Like I didn't know the kid. I don't know. It's something. It seemed. I went through a lot of emotions.
You did, yeah.
But like you knew you had a bad vibe when the kid was there. And one of the thing I did think eventually that the family might just go away because they got Magneto. Maybe he was gonna get out somehow. Because that was we talked about already. I was surprised. Are they really gonna kill a kid? Is this the route they're gonna go down? And they did go down. And there was a turn. The second her powers happened, that's when I got the turn in my stomach of, oh man, they're gonna kill his family.
Yeah.
That's when I felt it was coming, and that was brutal just in alone because you look at the history of Magneto of being in Auschwitz and going through concentration camps, losing his family already.
Yeah,
and then he's
poor guy.
Yeah, and then he's doing this thing like he said he's doing Charles' way of okay, I'm gonna try and be good person, and like I said, we said at the beginning, he saves the person that turns their back on him. So it's just a cherry on top of he went out of his way to save humans who he doesn't really distinctly like because of the way they treated him in the past. But he's trying to make that leap. He saves a human, and what do? They turn their back, and his family gets killed right in front of him. Not only that, just that power, but his acting alone in that scene. Crying and death scenes are very, very hard for actors. I give them a lot of credit because those are really make or break performances. There's many times, and a lot of people. I liked them back in the day, but I can see why people would find them cheesy. Lots of people would always make fun. And like his crying scenes of Spider-Man, they just saw him kind of cheesy and out there. And that can happen because it's a tough thing to portray sadness or crying. But with Fassbender, and with Fassbender, it didn't seem like it was a tough thing. You know, like it happened, and then it's just such a good too because I'll just cry again. But like, yeah, I was bawling because the way the scene and just his acting, when he's holding both his wife and his wife and his child, he's saying, "Oh, he took my babies from me." He kills a guy, and then he does this great thing where he has a locket, and then he's just yelling at, I guess, God, which has never been talked about if he believes in God or not. But he's just like, "Is this what you want? Like, is this what you want to do?" I feel like
I feel like it's like the last thing he has to turn to. You know, like what else is there?
Yeah, and it's a thing of like he tried so hard, he did turn a new leaf, and it gets taken away from him. Like, and it's a terrible, and it brings him back to being a child and his family being taken away from him. And I think not only in the X-Men franchise, but I'd say in comic book franchise, I'd have to look. I don't know if there's that powerful scene in a film because, like I said, I can't remember something as dark and deep as a child getting killed in front of their father and his wife. Like I'm trying to think, and not counting anything R-rated, like in a Marvel or a DC. Nothing like that has happened to me. And it's not like the Batman getting shot where his parents get shot and they cut, 20 years. Because the thing was, they could have done that, but after Fassbender / Magneto kills all those guys, they still stick with him for like a full 2 minutes of him crying and holding everybody. And that's when I was really crying. I'm like, oh, you gotta cut away, and it's just like laying it on, which is good. And I'm biased many ways because Fassbender's one of my favorite actors and Magneto's one of my all-time favorite villains. But I feel like the scene warrants all emotion because it doesn't come out of nowhere, but because the genre of the film, it comes out of nowhere. If we were watching some other film, it could happen, but it's one of these things that felt really unexpected that
Yeah.
they would go there. And right away when that happened, it set a whole new tone of the film. The film has spots, but even though Days of Future Past deals with like this Armageddon future, I almost feel like this is the darkest X-Men film because that happens and then its tone gets really dark. And Apocalypse is really dark.
Just what that scene does for the movie too, right? It sets up the motives so perfectly.
Yeah,
for
you
the
understand.
characters that had lacking motives. That's really all you need. Just how much he's gone through already. You add on that, like what else is there? You know?
Yeah, and then like everything with the X-Men, everything with Days of Future Past,
Yeah.
and like trying to save the president and stuff like
So
that.
Fassbender killed it.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. He definitely would be my standout because I think that's good. Like I said, he does get lost a little bit near the end when he's just doing power stuff, and that sucks because he is just kind of floating. He's doing Magneto stuff, but like
Okay, one thing, this isn't really a character thing, but there was so many scenes of just like rubble, just like moving through
Too
the air.
many.
Way too much,
Yeah.
right? It was just like it was the same scene,
Yeah.
with a different building, with a different landscape. It was just like Earth/rubble, just like floating places.
Yeah, it was definitely too much. I
Way
know I
too
said
much.
to you like this is a little overkill. And the thing is, what I worry is obviously I think the film will be a success money wise. They'll do another one. This film to me, not the setting up the teams, the active Apocalypse, the villain Apocalypse, is kind of to me almost like a game ender or a movie ender or a franchise ender. Because it's one of these things of what do you do now, you know? And
Yeah.
the credits do hint towards a certain villain, Mr. Sinister, for you people that know. If not, I can explain later. But it's one of these things, and he is a big villain, but it's one of these things, and there is Dark Phoenix, so that could happen, but after Dark Phoenix is one of these, and Dark Phoenix is another thing where she might just be destroying stuff. Like it is kind of tough. And that's why I had the same problem with. I know you haven't seen Man of Steel, but with Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel, it ends with just building and city getting destroyed. And
Yeah.
I don't
I
like
think
when that happens because then the next movie you have to top that. So that just means more destruction.
Definitely,
before
in
you
terms
come
of
down
that,
to
it makes sense. But what I thought this movie did well is Apocalypse as the villain, because that's like the classic villain thing in so many movies outside of superheroes is I want to destroy the world, right? And this movie, I felt like there was actually you understand why it makes sense. There's motives for him doing it. It makes sense.
Well,
So I thought that was good. I just think I agree definitely. Like, where do you?
after I make this point, we can get into that because we can definitely talk about the villain. I think obviously Days of Future Past didn't do this thing where they destroy a bunch of buildings. So my correlation to DC was like, oh, you see it in every movie, so it's numb to you. The thing with this movie, you see it so much in this movie. By the end of it, I was numb of just so much that it's just rubble stuff, and it's like, what is left of the world? You know, like it's all just getting destroyed, and it was a little too much. And a little shout out as a big con was that one last shots that we both laughed. It looked like someone was building a video game. It was like cranes broken and the storage like units.
Yeah.
It looked just fully CG. Like the water did. Like it really stood out. It stood out to the point of like just take that out of the movie and just replace it with something else. And that's where some of the CG wasn't like. It was all right, but at times it really felt like CG. You know, when you do have
There was definitely some like just like the very first scene of the movie actually when they were just scanning over the desert and then you see them go to the pyramid. Like I thought the CG for that particular moment was actually like really good, but there was definitely a lot of like just the destruction scenes that were there was so much of it, right?
It was a little overkill.
I don't even think that they were necessarily bad. I think it was just like, this is like I feel like this is half of the movie is just getting destroyed,
and I
can't even see what's going on because it's just like dirt everywhere.
And I get it because it is Apocalypse, and it is like that's the name of him, that's the name of the movie, things like that. But at the same time, like I don't know, it went on too much. They made us say it for the end because he does a lot of stuff where in the middle of the movie he's breaking stuff, and near the end of the movie he got it for I don't know, just kind of
his palace.
He created palace so he can do the body swap with Xavier like that, but it feels very out of place. Like it was just one of those big build because they have a lot of money. It's tough because it is called Apocalypse, right? So you do want to. What I say is like you do want the world to be destroyed, but I never felt like it was being destroyed because it was just CG and it was happening so much.
I think the thing is like you don't actually see anyone die. Right?
No, you don't.
No people were killed. It seemed in all of this destruction.
That's true, and maybe they should have done that for a movie called Apocalypse.
Yeah, so that was the thing. I was just like I don't even know if anyone died.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of things get destroyed. But I don't even know if anyone died.
And everyone's really happy with that movie and they save the day. Even McNeil, like in the past, they're like, oh yeah, he helped us out, you know? So it's just a full-on just love fest. I guess we'll talk about main title character, Lips. Yep. Well, how did you feel about him overall?
I thought he was well done just because what I was saying before of like a villain of this caliber, but he actually has like solid motives and like you understand what he's doing. I think he was good. I don't think he was great. I think he was just good.
Yeah, I think too actually about the destroying thing because it was that thing. And I think some people probably feel differently, and obviously that's cool. But I did feel like it wanted to destroy the world, but you got a sense of why he wanted to. He's the first mutant. He kind of feels this ownership over the world. He's a god. Like he feels he's a god, and he does this for Loxton. He sees all these weapons and everything like that. And he's something like his people. So like I bought into it. I bought into his motives. I think where the villain kind of falters, unfortunately for me, is there's times where he is good and scary, but there's times where he comes off a lazy, a little too. He obviously wants to destroy the world, but he doesn't need to keep talking about how he has to destroy the world.
Yeah.
And at one point, does that exact same line as Charles that's been in the trailer of like, "Oh, we're gonna take the world's ashes and build a better one." He said that like, I feel there was a few times where it was maybe dialogue, but sometimes he would just come off maybe too dated.
Okay.
Not for this. If you think about villains and nowadays, I feel like he came off a bit 2004 or 5. It's like the older X-Men films.
Yeah.
I feel like overall he was, like you said, kind of almost like Mystique. I'd say good to okay. Like there's times for some of the cheesy stuff, and one of the major cheesy scenes was, and this is Xavier too, that's why I mean it might be dialogue. When Xavier goes in his brain, no movie character in the history of the world, you said one to me, no movie character in this world has ever said welcome to my world, and it's come off really cool. But then whoever wrote the script doubles down and says, now you're in my house. And when he said that, I was like, oof, that's not good. And then Apocalypse says, well, now it looks like you need a bigger house or something like that. And that's when I was like 3 in a row. I was like, oh man. So that's what I mean. Sometimes I felt he was scary and then on the cusp, but then he got a little cartoony, and that's fine.
I feel like it was a little confusing. I think he did say a line of like, oh, whoever survives are like worthy or something, but it seemed like he was just gonna kill everything and everyone. It didn't seem like there was gonna be any people left, any mutants even.
Yeah, and that's why maybe he thought that way when he wanted to get into Xavier's mind, but he didn't explain, oh, that's why I want to get into your mind, so I can separate the humans from the mutants and take them out. Because like you said, obviously you don't see any people die, but he really just wanted to destroy.
Yeah, I think when it comes through the end, like he wants Xavier's power so that he can just essentially be everyone.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's kind of strange, but clearly he's not your regular man or regular mutant. He's some other being of.
No, siree.
Some sort of god.
My question was just in a quick way. Do you feel like if he went to Xavier's body, would he still be paralyzed?
Well, I feel like he has the ability to fly. Does he not have the ability to fly?
He didn't fly though. Apocalypse.
No, we didn't. But I feel like
he has
the ability to lift things.
Yeah.
He has telekinesis. I feel like if you have the ability to, not even an X-Men thing, but I feel like
you can lift yourself.
I feel like any character that has the ability of telekinesis should also be able to fly, just by definition, right? But I feel like that doesn't always happen.
No.
I think it should.
Okay.
This is not related to anything. It's just...
That's fair. This is more like
this is a random repeat thing that we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I guess that's my overall thought. He was good. Not great. Like I said, good, but okay. I think I definitely need another watch.
What do you think of the look, at least?
At times it was good, and at times the Egyptian clothing got a little cheesy. Mm-hmm. It was like when he had like the kind of like, I don't know what would they call it. It's not a dress, but when they have like what would Tarzan wear? Like a male, like it's where like you have the slits on the side, and then you have a slit by the crotch and the butt. Like, what is that called?
Yes, some sort of a kilt.
I don't know if it's that, but either way, whatever it was, that came off a little meh, and some shots were better.
Yeah.
On his face.
I think he looked like just... If you compare, I'm gonna compare him to the other blue people. I think he was a little lackluster, just like.
Well, this is the
thing. Just bland, you know. Like if you look at, like she has all sorts of cool little designs on her face, and her eyes are really cool color and stuff. And yeah, his turned white and stuff. But like, I don't know. I just feel like he looked a little lackluster.
Did he look a little too much makeup-y? Because that was my problem. Some shots on his face, it looked like his skin. It looked like full on. Okay, he is blue, turquoise his skin. But then other times it looked like he had makeup caked on him. Or Mystique.
For sure, I would agree. One thing I thought was cool, and I was wondering if I was gonna just like happen when he was just kind of like destroying him. It looked like they were like revealing like a regular human. I was like, is he like a regular person and all that? Like,
he kind of shouldn't be. He should just kind of blue, and that's why he should just kind of peeled the color of his skin off. I guess
they took the makeup off.
Yeah, so I
don't think he looked. He looked kind of bad.
Yeah. So I feel he was good enough for this film, but he does. And once again, because there's so much, I'd say, almost cool stuff going on with the other X-Men. At one point, we take this detour to Weapon X, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But he kind of gets a little lost, too. Same thing we talked about, like, people get it back. He kind of gets on the back burner, too, of this film, because he just kind of goes away. He's chilling with the X, like, his horsemen and Xavier, but that's about it. And
yeah, it's kind of like, if he's just essentially teleporting from scene to scene, why is he just not telling?
Yeah, and it's the same thing of, it took a little long for me, his plan and everything like that. But I think I definitely need to get a better vibe. The exact same. He did a good job of what was written. But like I said, no there's many out there in the world, if any, that could make the line, oh, you're going to need a bigger house or that's healthy enough. And quickly, that pun, because we kind of forgot about him as a returning cast member. But Silver was in this. A lot more than Days of Future Past. How did you feel? Same thing, character and acting-wise?
I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's great. I think his scene this time, his classic, everyone else is frozen and he's just doing his thing. I thought... I mean, it wasn't quite as I don't know if I want to say it was better or worse. It was just like, oh, we've seen this before. We saw it coming, but I thought the scene.
It was expected. It was like returning to some.
There's some funny little jokes. And
Yeah, there's funny. It could never be as good as the first one because there was the shock of that scene happened, and I was like, I really like some bulldog in the pizza. That was really funny, but there's no other setup that there was like a dog in the mansion. Like it felt really random. It felt like, hey, we need a joke, so put a dog.
Yeah,
in
the thing with that scene, right, is they can just put in so they can do everyone like where they have.
I
The first
really
one,
enjoyed
the
it.
one in Days of Future Past, we could say.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it felt reverse, but they
A little
kind of
more
feel act on. But
yeah, it was kind of like, okay, where are we gonna fit in this Quicksilver scene? Where
yeah,
he's doing his
exactly.
thing, yeah.
But I liked it. I like the long choice dreams, perfect,
Yeah.
and I think just overall, Owen Peters kills it. Like,
Yeah.
like talk about Fassbender and McAvoy. To me, he's a smaller role, so I could never say it was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But I guess it's not the time season, and it is so good. He's always yeah, he's always Quicksilver. Even though things like when they're in the jet and he's blowing the bubble gum, and they teach people why he's a big Lou and whatnot. Like,
yeah, like
acting
that's
wise,
one thing.
fantastic.
If we compare this to the Avenger movies and that continuity, those movies are certainly more jokey.
Mhm.
Like each character we were saying in Civil War has like their quips and stuff, and I feel like Quicksilver's were the best of that in this movie. There's not a lot they definitely don't joke around nearly as much, but I felt like he was funny, obviously.
Yeah,
and that was good.
I think the only thing from a story standpoint that I'm just I wish there was scene in the end. I'm maybe sick and tired of waiting for it. Is the whole thing like, oh, I might get around to telling him I'm his dad.
Yeah.
You know, and like obviously it's because I'm a big X-Men fan. I want to see that play out. But it's just the thing of like, you kind of felt they were going to do that at the end of the movie and have that payoff.
They really should.
But then they just say like, oh, I'm going to tell him eventually, but I'm still going to hang out here. And it's, I don't know if he knows this or not, but McNeil is going in the movie. He's going, which we're talking about now. McNeil is good, which I like. Because Austin McNeil is a villain, but I like this new timeline so they can play around with it. He can kind of be a friend to them, a hero with them. And plus, the first movie, X-Men movie, is 2000. It's been 16 years of Magneto being a villain. I think it's time to switch it up and have some fun. He has a good chemistry with everybody, especially McAvoy the most as far as Xavier. Yeah. I personally like to see him as an X-Men. There's many other X-Men villains they can do. So it's the thing of like, I don't always want, after you kill his family, you can't really get any more motivation to be a villain again. You know, like his arc in this, I can't find a reason why he would go there. Yeah. So it kind of annoyed me as a Peter McNeil fan that he goes away at the end. He's like, oh yeah, I'm good, but then he's like, oh, like I'll see you.
Yeah,
then,
that way they can just pick him up from anywhere when they want to.
Yeah,
and that kind of lame.
Yeah, and I kind of wish he stayed at the school and built those relationships more, and maybe was an X-Men. You know, because like Xavier's not gonna be on that field that much. So I'd like a big teacher, everyone at the school, and gave that McNeil was kind of like the on the field leader. You know, like he should have been.
In Mystique's
giving that speech, you know, but he just kind of like, well, I'll see you later, old friend. And it's like, well, where's he off to?
I don't think that's...
What's he gonna...
just like the way his character's been portrayed, it doesn't seem like he would be that leader, to me, right now at least. But I would have liked for them to go that route instead, sure.
And then to me, that's the thing that kind of bugs me about the Quicksilver thing is, if he gets wind of, okay, he's leaving, you're this guy who's your dad, the movie started with you coming...
That was his motivation.
Yeah, to join the team, and at the end he's kind of like, nah.
Maybe he was like scared of him, but it's one of the things. It's
maybe, and I would buy it if McNeil was sticking around, because like, okay, he's gonna tell him eventually, but if McNeil's gone, you don't know how long he's gonna be gone, so that I didn't really buy. Like, I felt like there should have been a payoff there. That seemed especially McNeil seemed better at the end. What good way to kind of lift spirits up after losing his family to find out he had a son. So I'm kind of tired of them playing with that. Like, I want the next movie right away to get into the relationship. I don't want this to be this cat and mouse game of.
And you have to wonder if they've really how much they've thought about where that's going to go.
Yeah, I don't think
be
they
clean.
have that much.
We've talked about that before. How, the Avengers movie they have the plan.
Yeah, and they
years in advance. Whereas X-Men just like we're gonna do one movie at a time.
Yeah. That out and
Quicksilver. Yeah. To Nightcrawler. Had like some other kind of funny bits. But I would do it honestly.
Yeah. You didn't like that?
No, it was like no.
I like the Nightcrawler character, so I'm definitely buy it.
I love his power. I think he's cool. I wasn't a huge
Lines land for me, and then other ones there, but it didn't get enough time to dive deep into it. Like I like when he's like he kind of does the old X too, like my name's Nightcrawler, the Incredible, like I'm Kurt Wagner or Kurt Wagner or whatever. He always introduces himself. I thought there was some moments there. I think there's potential. I think there's dive deep into it. I can say I liked him more as far as comedic stuff, but I can see because there's a couple lines that didn't land for me. That could have been funnier. But him, and his action scenes were cool.
What do you think of his look?
I like the look. I like, especially if they're doing a younger. I like that he's a super small guy because he doesn't need to be big. That's not his power. So. I like his look. I like the tattoos. I'm not sure how you feel about the blue streaks in his hair. I don't know if you'll have the next movie because it's supposed to be like 80s, right? So I don't know how it will be, but I liked it. Yeah. I liked him enough. I enjoyed him. Actually, I'd say quite a bit.
I did like the character. I just didn't think I had jokes landed like they did for you. And yeah, the hair was I don't really like it, but overall, I mean, I think teleportation with like his tail and stuff. I think the scene he had with Angel was pretty good. Yeah, it was like. Short, I guess. Yeah, but I don't know. It
definitely was. I didn't like the one in the middle of the Apocalypse battle because they just had Nightcrawler teleport / Bamfing around this thing, and it's just like they felt like they had nothing for him to do. And then he makes it like, oh, like amazing. Like I don't know, like this is the best we could wrote for him. Like, he just teleporting, and it didn't seem like he did much, you know, in that end fight. Like he fought Angel for a bit. I guess he technically kind of kills Angel, but themselves. Yeah, I'm excited. That's one thing I'll say about all the characters coming out of this that I am excited to see. I'm very excited. Where with BVS, when I did see it after, I was excited, but then as more time's gone on, I've been a bit more worrisome. This, I feel a bit more optimistic. Character to get the shot. I feel most optimistic about Ty Sheridan, the younger guy that plays Cyclops / Scott
I
Stars.
thought he was pretty good. Yeah.
I think he's still. I'd say. I guess I would just give it that pretty good. Same thing. Nothing. Everyone kind of decent performances. I don't think there's anything bad. The only one to me was tearing bad is Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, but like I said, because maybe some of the lines. Yeah, and that was directors, but acting wise, I think it was pretty much. Oh, they said it was like the strongest, but she didn't get that much to do, so it's tough to play off that. But I feel like he did a really good job for a start. He needs to be a bit stronger, especially because he's gonna be the leader of the X-Men. He definitely has to be. Come on, and I know it's the origin, so we'll get there. But I want a little more though. There's some scenes I didn't feel he felt he was fully the character.
I think it was a good start.
Yeah,
I don't think he needs to be all that powerful yet. You know? Yeah, because that was his first mission. Mm-hmm. He's still new, but I feel like he had some confidence. I'm proud of it. I felt like I got that feeling.
Yeah. I want to see what the next, because as far as acting, he's very similar. Then I'll not be a fan, because he is starting off not even just the character, but the actor as well. But I do want to see a shift in the character, a bit stronger acting. The one that I feel like will need just a little bit of stronger acting, but I felt did a great job, was Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. I really liked her as Jean Grey.
Yeah, I thought she did pretty well. Yeah, from the trailers, I was unsure how I was going to feel about it. I didn't know if. She didn't look
that strong, and I know you don't watch Game of Thrones, but at the very beginning of her career, she was not that good in the show, to be honest. And she's getting really good now, but she wasn't that good. And there were a few times in this movie that she felt a little wooden, at times just a little, but it's the same thing of like they're getting in character, so it's tough. But I thought she did a great job for the most part, you know, especially. Obviously, the end is not too hard to act, but this is just they're already hinting at the Phoenix at the beginning with, there's a power inside me. At the end, she lets it out and takes out Apocalypse, really putting over how strong her power is. So I like if that is going to be a storyline happening again, that they're hints.
Yeah, I think the only I thought actress did a good job, and I like the character of Jean Grey. The only thing I was a little bit confused on was, so yeah, his death was a little cause I wasn't even sure that I kind of forgot that he died too.
That's by
saving everyone.
Yeah, and because they did this thing where. He goes to shoot.
They almost make a little joke of it, like Quicksilver's like, "Oh, I think I got everyone."
Yeah, and then he goes to shoot, and they do this thing of I guess Apocalypse. Oh, because Apocalypse redirects it and to the plane that explodes, and there's a big explosion. But I feel like before the explosion really hits and they cut away, so it's the thing of you felt like, is he really dead or is he not? But then
it seemed like they wanted to go with having Quicksilver be the one who technically declares his death, but it just seemed like it was a bad play. I don't know.
I felt. Oh, excuse me, it's late here, but I feel, he was just very anticlimactic. The death, he did a good job, but nothing really. I guess we can talk about the main thing which we haven't got into is the Weapon X scene. Now, before I get into talking about how great this is, the scene, other than working in and really has no place in the movie, because. I was thinking about this after the movie. The whole thing happens where Apocalypse comes, he takes Xavier, and then the mansion explodes, and they're there. Now, what happens is Stryker comes down, he takes them to Weapon X, they get to Weapon X, they break out Weapon X, and then they go fight. You literally could take Weapon X in the movie and nothing would change. Because you could literally, Xavier gets taken, they decide, you know what, we're going to be a team, let's do this. I have to watch it again, because maybe I'm missing something but do you remember anything Weapon X contributing to the rest of the plot, other than Wolverine?
No, it seemed like it was purely there to set up for the future of Wolverine.
Yeah. And it didn't feel like it had anything to do with the rest of the movie. So, it's good, because to me what happens in the Weapon X sequence is great, but it feels kind of out of place, because it does really lead to nothing. You know?
Yeah. I think if, one of my friends came with us, it was his first X-Men movie, I feel like for that kind of viewer, it's like, why is that there?
Yeah.
But I feel like for us, it's Wolverine's been in every X-Men, I'm pretty sure, right? And everyone loves that character, and Hugh Jackman does it amazingly. I think it's fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a standalone movie, maybe it's out of place, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay too, and I like it, but it's definitely, I just want to put that note of, it is a scene that doesn't really play any...
It's a side thing.
Yeah, but that being said, for me, that whole sequence is fucking awesome. I love the second Stryker comes down. This young guy that they have for Stryker is good, because he just comes off as this guy you hate. He just comes off as a scumbag. But we finally, comic book fans, we finally get to see old school, classic Weapon X Wolverine, and that's, for you that don't know, the look of needles in them, the gear, the helmet. That's how it's supposed to be. Not, you haven't seen Wolverine Origins, but not Wolverine Origins. That is the look. That is how he started. This big helmet, monster, the hair. I love that. He wasn't nice and clean cut. Big beard, huge hair, just pure rage and violence. He's tearing through everybody.
He's an animal.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite sequences in the film, him tearing through. Like I said, I wish they maybe would have backed up a bit, but I think that could be for a Ray R thing. But he's just tearing through people. There's blood everywhere. There's parts. I love the whole thing, and we talked about this in the theater with one of our friends. My thing that is like the crescendo of that scene that makes the scene perfect, and why even if this movie is not a perfect movie or not like a 9 out of 10 movie, there's so many good moments in this movie that bring it up. The moment of Wolverine, he's freaking out, he's done all this, and he's about to escape, and then Jean says she can help him. This is something I did not think would happen because, as you can see, we have Ultimate X-Men behind it. Anyone that reads, you know that he actually hooks up with young Jean Grey, and it's really uncomfortable because he's like a 500-year-old man, she's 16. And that's in comics. Obviously, in this film, they did not hook up or anything like that, but I still thought in the movies, especially, there is this, like you said, an intimate relationship. There's almost kind of a loving relationship there. And it's one of the things of, I thought there's no way in hell her being, I think she's in her 20s, but they're kind of portraying her as younger, 16 to 18. There's no way in hell they're going to even acknowledge. I thought Wolverine was just going to tear through people and then he'd leave. They're not even going to acknowledge this history that these characters have and will have because the age thing. But they, once again, almost like Magneto's family getting killed, they take this risk, which I think pays off. They have this tender moment between Wolverine and G, and it really hits, and it's great. The whole thing of she says, oh, I gave him a few memories, as much as I could pull, and you get this whole, even though they don't end up together, star-crossed lovers thing of they kind of know each other, they just have this feeling that they're going to impact each other's lives.
They have a connection.
They have a connection. Hugh Jackman does a great job when she takes the helmet off, reads his mind, his claws go away. It's just perfect. It's well done. It's just very much like Days of Future Past, like fan service, you know, like that whole scene, and that's why I give it a pass because the whole scene is kind of just fan service, and that's why I like it because it's a scene that's one of my favorite sequences now in a comic book film. What did you feel about that sequence overall, the Wolverine stuff?
I think you pretty much just said every last thing there's to say about it. So
I love that sequence.
So I'm just going to tack on that I also thought it was really well done, and I really like the look of Wolverine, and I thought, you know, we were talking about the fighting was a little lackluster, but I think that's okay because we've already seen him tear up so many people, and we can save that for the next movie. Since he's not a plot point in the movie, really, I think it's fine to, you know, skip that sort of thing. And then the scene with Jean Grey, I thought there was an intimate connection. It wasn't in any sort of like a relationship really. It was just an intimate connection. Like they were so connected, and I thought it was really well done. Yeah, no, she was saying like I
think acting number. Pretty good, and then story-wise, pretty good. Like I said, the apocalypse stuff, pretty good. Kind of.
That's the theme here. Is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good, and that's why I'm getting hit with. Like, I think I'm gonna watch it with a solid 7.5. 7 for the movie. The 0.5 is for the fan service for people like myself. I think that's what it is. It's pretty good. I think it'll be in the 2 X-Men movies. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It's some really, really good stuff, and there's stuff that's decent. Even Apocalypse, when he gets a little cheesy, I don't feel there's a moment where I'm like, he's fully okay. There is that the in your house line there is off. So that's what I mean. Like there is it's in the middle. If you're an X-Men fan, I think you'll really like this. If you're a superhero fan, you'll really like this. If your friend, we won't name drop him just for sake, but like
Kenny,
Kenny, he liked it. He had never seen an X-Men film, right?
Yeah.
So I think
I feel like he's kind of in the same as me though, where he's like. He just usually likes things. He usually just likes a movie. Yeah, you know,
that's fair.
Like I feel like I like more movies than I I feel like I don't often dislike a movie.
Yeah, I think you could watch this, but I feel like it is like Civil War. If you've watched the other ones, you get a better emotional outcome of this.
Well, the thing is, for someone like him, he doesn't even know anything about X-Men in general, so he doesn't even know these characters. Whereas for me, I've just seen the movies, but I could see who these characters are going to be. Yeah, just from like their. So I know who this is. And
exactly. So I'm hitting it for right now the solid 7.5. Yeah. Could drop to, I don't think it's an 8 worthy because that's like I guess it's like a C plus. So maybe it's a B, but like it's not an 8 range.
I was gonna say probably something like 7.5 to an 8. I think for the most part it's just like what we were saying. it's pretty good. You know, like
Mhm.
for the most of the characters are just pretty good. You know, there's James McAvoy and Fassbender, and they're like way up there. Like
Yeah.
they're a 10. Like they did amazing. I think there's a couple characters that fell below that. For the most part, just pretty good.
Yeah. I feel like
The action
Quicksilver's
scenes-
a 10 on entertainment.
Action scenes are like pretty good.
Yeah.
The rubble scenes way too much.
Lots of rubble.
So overall, it's just like just pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's one you should go. If you watch this, you already seen it, but hopefully, I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I'm excited to watch it again in the future. Nowhere near Days of Future Past level. When I walked out, I was blown away.
Yeah.
There's moments that I said that blow me away, but Days of Future Past, when I walked out, I was like, man, that whole film had me rocking start to finish. There's a couple times where I was like, but at the same time, like I said earlier, not to compare it, like I said, I didn't walk out of like BVS feeling, man, there's so many missed opportunities. You know, I feel like there's something they could do better, but that's for the future, you know. And it's no way I'd say like a bad X-Men film. I wouldn't call it a bad film. So, listen, thank you for everyone that watches this. Thank you for everyone that listened to our episode on the podcast. Next week, I think we're going to be doing some news. We're getting ready for E3 because E3 is big.
Just around the corner.
So I think we'll be probably doing a couple predictions, things like that.
Yeah.